Thank you, Texas Brass. If you don't know that melody, by the way, the prime melody we heard there, the words, or some of the words that go along with it are, there are people hurting in the world out there. They need you. They need me. They need Christ. That word need is an interesting one. I've heard it a lot. I heard it when Darius was praying here. He said, I need you, God. And God came along in a sort of a younger, better-looking version of me, oddly enough. But the word need is interesting because it really is a word that depends on circumstance. Back in the day, many years ago, in a land far, far away, I took a job as a young man selling vacuum cleaners. Yes, I sold vacuum cleaners door to door for 6 weeks. And if I could get inside of your house, the first question I would ask you is if there's something that you really, really want and really, really need, would £1 a day, that would be $1 a day here, of course, would $1 a day stop you from getting it? And invariably, the person would say no. And once they've done that, the hard part is done. Of course, all I've got to do now is convince you you want it and you need it. And the reason you need a vacuum cleaner is because you've got a carpet. And the reason you need a carpet is because you've got a house. The reason you have a job and you earn money is to maintain that house. You see, need is very dependent upon circumstance. So if life throws you a curveball, if something bad happens, if suddenly the rug is pulled from under your feet, that need will shift. And John Gowans talks about that in that song, I Need You, or They Need You, They Need Me, They Need Christ. He talks about certain circumstances in life. The crying child, the prisoner, the drug addict, the alcoholic, the suicidal. He says they need you. They need me, they need Christ. Now, they don't necessarily know that. The alcoholic thinks he needs another drink. The drug addict thinks he needs another fix. The suicidal think they simply need to die. The great legendary bandmaster Jim Anderson would tell a story of a lady one day who was sitting on the side of her bed on a Sunday morning with a bottle of pills. She felt her need was to die. It happened to be a Sunday morning where down the road the Edinburgh Gorgie Band was getting ready to do what it did every Sunday. That was to assemble to do an open-air march, get to the open-air spot, and then march back again. And on that march to and from, they would play marches, songs, and spiritual music. And so it was on this Sunday morning, this lady was sitting on the edge of her bed. For whatever reason, she felt the only thing that she had left was to take her own life. And as she's looking at that bottle of pills, suddenly through her window from the street beyond, she hears a melody being played. It was a melody that brought her back to her childhood, to the days when she went to church. The words, she remembered them. And in that moment, everything shifted. In that moment, there was a memory of joy, a memory of something better. She put down that bottle of pills. She got herself dressed, she went to church, and God changed her life for all eternity. But I've often wondered, what would have happened if the band didn't go out that day? Maybe they figured there wasn't much point, we don't see much results in what we do. Maybe they just felt, we'll take a Sunday off. What would have happened if they didn't go out that day? Well, I think we know for sure that one more life would have been lost to the kingdom. And so equally, I do wonder what would happen if we as Christians stop being where we need to be in that world. John Gowans talks about that too in his song. He said there are godless people who have lost their way, and they need God's love, but they're afraid to say, if we close our eyes, perhaps they'll go away without you, without me, without Christ. Friends, I love events like this where we can come inside and we can play our music and we glorify God. It is so easy to be a Christian in a room like this. But where God really needs us is out there, where they're lost and they're hurting. So if you take nothing from this day except for the glorious music and creative arts, take this. People need you. Bless you, friends.